I booked flights months in advance. I researched everything until I had a bulletproof itinerary. I planned carefully, accounting for every hour, but trip after trip something felt off. There was a persistent disconnect I couldn't quite name. I'd come home tired, feeling like I needed a vacation from my vacation, and often wondering why a place I was so excited about never really clicked. It wasn't one big mistake. It was a collection of small ones, habits that slowly drained time, money, and energy without me even noticing. These aren't dramatic travel fails you see online. They're the mistakes people who care about traveling well make. And once I identified and started fixing them, everything changed. My trips didn't just get cheaper. They got calmer, more personal. I learned to follow my own curiosity instead of a pre-written script. And ultimately, my trips became more memorable. They became the rich, immersive experiences I had always been searching for. My first mistake was wasting the first morning of every trip. We'd often land late, exhausted from the journey, check into the hotel, and I'd tell myself tomorrow will start for real. So I'd sleep in, hitting snooze until the best part of the morning was already a memory. I'd move slowly. I'd grab a late, uninspired breakfast. It felt reasonable, and a logical recovery from travel fatigue. I didn't realize I was giving up the most magical moment of the trip. That quiet window of time before the city puts on its public face, before tour buses arrive, before lines form and stretch around the block, before the city changes pace to a frantic roar. Early mornings belong to locals. You get empty streets where you can hear your own footsteps. Short lines and unhurried conversations. Cooler air that feels crisp and clean. Now I plan a walk to a specific park, a local cafe for the first morning, a quiet viewpoint. It's not about doing more. It's about starting better. That one habit completely changed how my trips feel, grounding me in the place from the very first light. After I stopped wasting the first morning, and I uncovered another subtle trap I'd been setting for myself. I used to pack it with a grid of reservations and schedules, museum tickets for a specific time slot, prepaid walking tours that dictated my pace. Lunch plans are locked in weeks in advance. On paper, it looked incredibly productive, but in reality, it felt exhausting. The problem is simple when you see it. You don't know the place yet. You can't possibly know its rhythm or what hidden alley might capture your imagination. So now I treat the first full day as orientation. I pick just one anchor activity as something to give the day a loose shape. Everything else is optional. Trips don't need momentum on day one. They need alignment, a chance to sync with the pulse of a new city. Another mistake I have made for years was booking once and never looking again. Flights, hotels, done. What I didn't realize was how often prices change after you book. Now, if something is flexible, I always check again. Sometimes I rebook for less. Sometimes I upgrade. Sometimes nothing changes. But enough times it does. This mistake doesn't ruin trips loudly. It quietly drains money, trip after trip. One of my biggest travel lessons came from a good deal. The hotel was cheaper, the room was fine, but I spent the entire trip commuting. Location decides how your trip feels. Now I choose hotels based on how I want to move through a place, because time is the real luxury. Another mistake I used to make was trying to see everything as quickly as possible. When everything is important, nothing gets your full attention. Now I do less on purpose. I stay longer in fewer places, because travel isn't about coverage. It's about what stays with you. Every city has its own distinct rhythm. Most travelers unknowingly fight against it. Mornings are calm, evenings soften. Now I do hard things early and wander late. This simple timing changes everything. Another mistake was packing for every possible scenario, just in case. The result was heavy bags and constant clutter. Now I pack for reality. Laundry exists everywhere, and lighter bags make lighter trips. The final mistake took me the longest to understand. Not leaving white space. The moments I remember most were never planned. Now I protect unscheduled time, because that's where trips stop feeling like projects and start feeling like experiences. Better travel isn't about doing more. It's about doing less, better when you leave space. Subscribe for more travel tips.